What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Go TV. Today I was supposed to do a little mountain biking. I have a lot of bikes. I collect them, I fix them up. But that's my bike I ride all the time. It's an old school Trek 4300. That's probably about close to 15, 16 years old. But you know what? It holds up good on the trails, and never have an issue with it. So I continue to ride it. But unfortunately, it's raining today. So we got a little rained out. We usually go out Sunday morning. My two neighbors, we had at about 6:30 in the morning, and we hit some trails up in North Jersey, and it's a lot of fun. But today, it's a little on the rainy side, so I opted, instead of going riding today, is to do a little work in my garage, and I'll show you what I need to do. So I have this whole mess here. So I got to straighten up all this stuff here, clean it up, and then I want to work on this echo blower I picked up. Somebody on Facebook Marketplace was selling it. Paid 20 bucks for it, and apparently it doesn't run. But I did tinker with it a little bit. It does start up, but it just doesn't idle. When I give it throttle, it dies. But I noticed here, it looks like he may have replaced the carburetor, because he gave me a bag full of parts, and there were two other carburetors, and that carburetor does not look like the carburetor that belongs on this machine. And one of the carburetors that he did give me looks like the one that belongs on this machine. So we're gonna swap that out and see if we can get this baby running. But meanwhile, let me take care of this mess. I'll tell you what happens. Anytime I'm done with a project, I usually put all my tools away, everything organized, and as soon as I start another project, I start to take everything off the wall, out of the drawers, and I kind of leave it that way for a day or two, because after I'm done with a project, I'm a little bit too, not tired, but just don't want to deal with putting all this away. But that's what we're going to do first, and I'm not going to show you how I put stuff away, because I think most of us really know how to do that already, and you don't need a guy like me to show you how to clean house. So let's get started on that. All right, guys, ready for the big reveal? Look at that. You can actually see my workbench, all my drills lined up, and I still have to go here, and then I have to redo that whole wall. I had it all set up at one time, but got a little out of hand, you know. So I got to work on that, and then maybe I can take this bike out for a little while. It's a little dusty. I haven't ridden it in a few weeks. We'll get there. I got other shit to do. Excuse me, I didn't mean to say that word. A couple bikes I'm working on. It's been a bike craze up in North Jersey due to the pandemic. All the Walmarts and all the big box stores are sold out of their cheap bikes. So I'm picking up these mountain bikes for $20, $30, fixing them up, and people are coughing up $100, $150 for some of these. So those are a couple things I gotta take care of. But yep. Man, my wood pile. I keep scrap wood. Occasionally when I'm bored, I'll build a birdhouse. We have a lot of birds, and my wife likes to see them run around the yard. So we feed them and we house them rent-free. They don't pay any rent. They just give us some pleasure watching them while we sit out there and enjoy our yard. A welder. That's my new welder. I've been kind of practicing with it a little bit. I got some good welds here and there. I think that guy's pretty good right there, getting there, and this one's pretty good. So a little practice, not perfect, but. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna be working on this thing here. So I know I mentioned before, all the parts and extra parts that I got from this dude. But there are 3 carburetors, spark plug, and some filter, some fuel line, and that's the carburetor that he has on it. And I was doing some research online, and I don't know if that's the right carb. All the ones I looked at, it had this one, which is a brand new carb. It doesn't even look like he had it on. And then this guy looks like, I don't know if that was even the original carb or not, because it looks like it was used. And then this one. So the interesting part about this, the guy I bought it from worked for a like a landscape supply company. Like they sold this stuff, but I guess he doesn't know how to work on them. But so first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna yank the filter off here, and then yank that carb off, and we're just gonna pop this carb on just to see if this does it. If not, then we may have some other underlying issues that we need to look over and see what's going on with. But let me position the camera so you guys have a better view of what I'm doing. And hopefully, if you see me screw something up, you leave some suggestions down in the comment area. So let's get you positioned. So before I start any project, obviously, I always have a cup of coffee with me. That's bigger than a cup, but I'm a coffee enthusiast, and I actually sell a brand of coffee on Amazon. It's called Raw Iron Coffee. So if you guys ever in need of coffee, I'd really appreciate you sourcing me out on Amazon and buying a bag. It's all high octane stuff, high caffeine. It's a light dark roast, so I didn't want to over roast it to where it tastes burnt. I wanted to just give it a little bit more flavor and maintain my caffeine levels. So it's Raw Iron Coffee, and I have a link down below for my coffee line. But here we go. Salute. So this thing looks like it was hardly ever used. I mean, the filter's clean as heck. He also gave me actually, he probably changed the filter because there's a semi-dirty filter. So that can go in the trash. So we got a couple hex screws here to take it out, and it's if I can read it, it's a T27 to take this out. So just so you guys know, I'm experimenting recording with something different today. I bought a new Samsung phone, and the video quality looks amazing. So I wanted to see how my videos and the audio come out. So I'm not using my mic, but fortunately I'm just in my garage, so you won't hear the traffic as you did all the other times. So we're gonna keep all of this together. I'm like, choke, everything works fine here. All right. Where the heck did that come from? Oh, okay. That goes in like that. Fuel line off. So yeah, I don't know what this carburetor was from, but I was looking online and just trying to do a little research. Like I was actually going to buy a new carburetor, and this is the one that kept showing up. So yeah, I have to assume this is the right one. And he didn't put in the right one. How is this going? Okay, it goes like that. It's got a gasket against the manifold. It's kind of like a weird shape, and I wasn't paying attention how it came off, but it looks like it goes off like that, and then this acts as I guess it blocks dirt and particles to get in here, I guess. Definitely go that way. Alright, we'll figure it out when we get to it. And I ordered a stand for my phone through Amazon. It was supposed to come here yesterday, and it never made it. And it's saying it's supposed to be delivered today or delayed. We'll see how that goes, but just so you guys can see what's going on in there. That's pretty much it. Just a little manifold hanging out. And let's see how this carb even fits in here. This definitely does not look like it's meant to go in here. No, that's definitely not. That's definitely not meant for that. This has a different throttle mechanism, and it's, well, maybe it goes this way. Nope, doesn't go that way, that's for sure. The primer bulb on this carb was facing up, and this is a side mounted primer bulb, but this throttle definitely doesn't work with that. So let's see what the other carb here is. Okay, so we have a top mount primer bulb. Actually, it's a bottom mount primer bulb. That primer bulb is not on either. That's a top mount primer bulb. This could be a top mount primer bulb, but the fuel lines are facing up, which indicates it's a bottom mount primer bulb. And I don't think this will work. And then we got this one that has no primer bulb. Let me show you what I'm looking at. So this is the one we just pulled off. No, that wasn't the one we just pulled off, was it? Yes, this is the one we just pulled off, so Well, maybe it was a bottom mount primer bulb. But maybe... Well, this one is definitely not going to work. This is just not... I mean, that would go this way here. And there is no room to pick up the throttle cable or the throttle arm on that one. This one goes too deep in. So I was getting the wrong information online. Luckily I didn't buy it though. Luckily it was given to me. So we're going to throw that one away. Well, not throw it away, but we'll put it to the side. I think this is the one. This is the one I pulled out. Which, believe it or not, looks like it works the best. And maybe we'll just put that back and we'll clean it. And then, well, you got this one here that's pretty similar. And this one here looks like it'll fit. The choke arm, I mean not the choke arm, but the throttle arm here goes where it's supposed to go. And this looks like a brand new carb. And this was not the one that was on it. So let's throw this one on and see what happens. What can go wrong, right? Alright, so after went online just to try to do a little research, and obviously this particular blower has been tons of problems with, and mostly carburetor issues. But it looks like the carburetor that he had on was the original carburetor. And it looked like he just put it back on to see if he can get it to work. So all of these other carburetors that I have here are no bueno. None of them work. None of them are meant to work with this machine. And only reason why I say that is the way that the throttle setup is mounted on these carburetors. This one that he originally had on was the only one that made sense. This one here that I thought would be the right one required a cable type throttle, which this doesn't have a cable type throttle setup, and it would be reverse. So the way the throttle is that way, it should have been the other way, and this is not set up to work that way. So we're gonna eliminate that, and this other carburetor here looked like it may have worked, but the way the throttle set up on this one, it was not the right way. So we're gonna get rid of that one. And then he has where's the other one? But anyway, there was another carburetor that he had. Here it is, which had no primer bulb, had one line in for the fuel, and definitely was not meant for this. It looked like he probably got it from where he worked and decided to, let me see if this carburetor works. Okay, that's junk. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go back to the original carburetor. I'm gonna take it apart, and I'm gonna get some carb cleaner on it and see if we can clean anything up, and maybe run non-ethanol gas through it, just to help it run a little bit smoother. So let's do that. We'll take this whole thing apart. So I'm gonna move this blower out of the way here and then make room to take this thing apart. So always make sure you have a semi-clean area to work, because there's a lot of little parts in here that can kind of get away from you. That's why I have my magnet tool here, and try to keep a nice little clean area. It's actually best to work in a if you had a tray and all your parts can fall into a tray, but I don't happen to have one. So we're gonna wing it, and hopefully for the best. Worst case scenario, we just order another carburetor and call it a day, and order the right carburetor. But for now, let's just go with what we have. I thought it would make a interesting video. Let's take these lines off. I think I have some gum out carb cleaner, and spray that through everything, and we'll blow it out with an air hose and see what we have from there. And one thing to remember too, always try to keep all of your parts that belong together in one area. So I'll take the primer bulb, and I'll take these 4 little screws that kind of held that on, and I'll put it in my magnetic tray here. And so this is the diaphragm, and that's what helps pumps the fuel into the carburetor, and it actually looks pretty clean. And we'll just juice the hole with some carburetor cleaner. It's actually a little dirty in there. Also remember which way you took everything out. So whatever orientation you have it at, you could just leave it that way. I'll put that right in my tray. Now there's a little screen right in here, and that tends to get dirty, and so we want to make sure that's clean. And if you look, it got some marks and stuff on here. I don't know if you can see that. So it looked like he tried to do something. Who knows? But we'll clean that out. I'll get some carb cleaner on here, and then I'll just blow it out with my air gun, and then we'll reassemble it and put everything back in again. But we'll see what happens. I wish I had a new screen. I would replace that screen. But let me get the carb cleaner out and let me blow through this thing. All right, so it looks like I got everything. I kind of use a gum out carburetor cleaner and just cleaned everything out really well. And then I used my air compressor to kind of blow through all the holes. And it seemed like everything was free flowing. I didn't see any issues. So we'll put this thing back together. So just so you know, these have like little nubs in there, and they're dummy nubs, so you don't put this on the wrong way. So it only goes on one way. So if this doesn't work, then obviously we'd have to order the working carb that goes with this thing. Diaphragm. So usually it's a diaphragm. You have a silver disc that generally faces downward, and that's what gives it a little spring feel to it. And you put your bulb assembly on. Try not to lose these screws. They're tough to replace unless you buy a. I don't even know if these even come in a carb kit. If they don't come in a carb kit, you might as well just throw it out and order a new carb. And generally, it's cheaper to just buy a new carb, because some carb kits cost $7 to $10, and you can go right on Amazon and buy a Chinese-made carburetor for about $10 to $15. So the way these are made nowadays, they're just meant to throw away at this point. But since it's Sunday, I have nothing else better to do. We just put this together and see if we can resolve the issue. Alright, so we got everything together, and we'll start putting everything back on the machine. So I took the hose assembly out. You got the fuel line, then you got the primer line. So what that does is that lets any excess fuel go back into the tank. So put that one on, and then put the fuel line on. And this baby here, that's a vent to let air into the tank, so it can circulate up through here. So if this wasn't here and it was completely sealed, there would be no way of vacuuming it up or pumping it up to your carburetor. So you need a little bit of air to kind of push it out. It's like when you have a gas can and you're trying to pour fuel, and it starts to gloop, 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 gloop. Fuel doesn't come out smooth enough, but when you put a hole or when you open up the other end, it flows through. Same concept. That's what these are for. So we'll toss everything into there. It's got like a rubber bushing that goes right into the tank, kind of seals it up. And it doesn't go in very easy. You can take a little tiny screwdriver and just kind of force it in, but gently. You don't want to puncture any holes in the plastic or in the rubber. Once you get one side started, it should all kind of like go in. Probably better without the carburetor attached to it. Get them in. If you're going to use a screwdriver to push this in, use your screwdriver sideways and push in instead of jabbing it like a knife. There you go. Make sure it's seated in nice and tight. Coffee break. So this vent goes into there's a little opening right in here that slides into. I don't know if you can see that from here. So it goes in here. And then we have your fuel line, and we'll get that all connected. Alright, so as you can see, we got a throttle connected, got the fuel line, and then you have your primer line here all connected. You got your vent put into there, and then we'll put the filter and all the other good stuff on. So before we put everything together, I got the fuel lines hooked up. Just want to make sure I am getting fuel to the primer bulb here. And yep, we got fuel into the primer. Alright, so we can put this back together. Just make sure you choke. Okay, that works. We can put the filter back on. And we get the fuel cap. Good compression. Cold start choke is on. Got the primer bulb. Let's see if we get this thing started. Well, it starts. It's a little shaky. Alright, so I reassembled everything, changed the fuel filter, and let's see what happens. There you have it. It looks like we got it running. Probably needs a little bit of little adjusting, but other than that, I think that carb worked out. One of the things I did do is I changed the fuel filter that's in the tank. Put a new one in that. That could have been restricting the fuel flow a little bit, but it did need a carburetor cleaning. I would have loved to actually get a new carb for it and put a new carb on it, but it's good enough for now. Maybe down the road, If I decide to keep it, I may just order a new carb for it and just swap it out. But it seems like it's working pretty good. The motor's good, got good compression, got spark, everything's good. Alright guys, thank you for watching GoTV, and I'll put some links down below for some of the things that I used and ordered and to repair this Echo PB-250 blower. Alright guys, take care, happy pandemic.